Welcome back to Newsbeat. More than 1 million people stood shoulder to shoulder in Washington on Tuesday to witness the inauguration of President Barack Obama.
But the moment was hard to see for many as the crowd stretched nearly 2 miles from the Capitol to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Jim Acosta has more.
This is shuttered.
It was more than a speech.
So let us mark this day with remembrance of who we are and how far we have traveled.
It was a moment. A moment that could only be expressed like this.
I'm just so proud and just so happy of this country.
With a sea of American flags sparkling in the bright January sun, a tide of celebration swept across the National Mall. White and African-American faces alike beamed with pride.
I wish my mama and my mother-in-law was here to see it.
From a mixed-race couple,
we wouldn't have been able to get married, even in the year that we were born, and now it's a different world, and our children will know that, and it's exciting.
To children of the 60s.
I was in the Vietnam War era where we marched down the streets, and there was division in the country, and this man's going to bring us together, and that's what I'm happy about.
Emotions were running as high as the expectations for the new president.
I knew it could happen, and now that it has, it's like, you know, the possibilities are just endless. Exactly.
Yeah. What's next? It shows how far this country's come in 60 years, and I've been fortunate enough to live through those 60 years and more.
One nation under groove.
Civil rights activist and scholar Cornel West says it's now up to President Obama to deliver.
We're going to work with him. We're going to help him. We're going to criticize him. We're going to keep him accountable. But at the same, he's a president, but he's also a servant.
Crowds were heavy along the National Mall during the inauguration, but nearly 38 million people watched it on television.
2 days after taking office, President Obama has settled into his new office. Here's a glimpse of the president inside what may be the most famous office space in the world, the Oval Office. White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs said Obama spent his first 10 minutes in the room alone on Wednesday and read a note left for him by former President Bush. After that, Mr. Obama was joined in the room by Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel.
And the new president isn't wasting any time making his mark. On his first full day in office, President Obama welcomed his newly sworn-in White House staffers with some new ethics rules.
All of you are committed to building a more responsible, more accountable government. And part of what that means is making sure that we're spending precious tax dollars wisely and cutting costs wherever possible. During this period of economic emergency, families are tightening their belts, and so should Washington. And that's why I am instituting a pay freeze on the salaries of my senior White House staff.
Obama also issued executive orders to tighten restrictions on lobbyists. The president signed an order today to close the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center.
We have Alexandra Cranford here with us today to tell us the weather weekend forecast. There was quite the unexpected change in the weather today. Alex, what can we expect for tomorrow?
Well, it's going to keep warming up, but once we get to the weekend, we might even see some rain. I'll have the details coming up next, right here on Newsbeat. Welcome back to Newsbeat. I'm Alexandra Cranford. Well, this week has certainly been a chilly one. We've seen temperatures dipping down into the 30s and even into the 20s. Now that it's Thursday, we're finally starting to see it warm up a little bit. Take a look at temperatures around the region. It's getting into the mid-60s, upper 60s, even into the 70s to the north and to the west of us. Closer to us, Lafayette, New Orleans, getting up into the upper 60s. Here in Baton Rouge, our high is just at about 69 degrees, and it's a great day out there. We've got a lot of sunshine and clear skies. We've got some air movements moving on over us to the south, so that's what's bringing these higher temperatures that are a bit warmer than what we've been seeing. As we move into the evening, we'll see that temperature drop down to just under 50 degrees. We'll see some slight south winds, but for the most part, it'll be a nice clear night. If you're headed out, remember a light jacket. It'll be cool and clear, and tomorrow, it'll feel a lot like what we saw today. A tad warmer though. We'll get up to about 74 degrees, right up there in the mid-70s. We'll also feel some wind picking up. It'll start in the 5 to 10 mile per hour range, and over the course of the day, it may even climb up to about 20 mile per hour gusts. Let's take a quick look at what we can expect for the weekend. We've got a frontal system headed our way, which means that there's a 40% of chance of rain on Saturday. We also have a 20% chance of rain on Sunday, depending on how long that system continues to hover over our area. But Monday will bring mostly sunny skies, and on Tuesday, we'll see mostly cloudy skies with a slight chance for some showers. So this weekend, get ready for some warmer temperatures and keep a lookout for possible rain. And that's your weather for today. Kristen will tell us more about this weekend's sports.
Thanks, Alex. Coming up in sports, the men's basketball team hit the court against Mississippi State last night. Game highlights next. Plus, LSU baseball is receiving preseason recognition. We'll tell you next on Newsbeat. Welcome back to Newsbeat. Baseball season is a little over a month away, and things are already looking great for LSU. Collegiate Baseball Magazine has ranked the Tigers preseason #1, but the most recent poll put out by Baseball America has LSU ranked at #2, just behind Texas A&M. The Tigers roster includes 5 returners who received preseason All-American honors. Returning 25 key players and adding the top recruiting class should help the Tigers return to baseball dominance. While the baseball team hopes to return to LSU standards, the men's basketball team is exceeding expectations. A year after losing their head coach in 18 games, the Tigers already have 14 wins and are looking for the SEC West lead. Last night was an important step toward the division lead as they took on Mississippi State. LSU dominated the second half to pull away with an 81-57 victory. Marcus Thornton led the way with 31 points, and Tasman Mitchell added 24. The win moves the Tigers into a first-place tie with Mississippi State in the SEC West.
The last 3 games, we've been, playing well in the first half and not playing as well as we want to in the second half. And Coach came in at halftime and told us we need to switch that around this game because they're gonna come back. We're playing first place, so came back in the second half and put the hammer down, and we were real happy about that.
The Tigers are now 15-3 overall and 3-1 in conference. Several teams are in action this weekend, starting with men's basketball. It's the first real test for the Tigers as they face their first ranked opponent of the season. LSU looks to upset number 15 Xavier of Ohio on Saturday. The game's at 7 in the PMAC. But tonight at the PMAC, the women's basketball team takes on Mississippi State. Moving from the court to the mats, the gymnastic team hopes to rebound from their loss to Georgia and seek their first SEC win in Kentucky. And finally, the swimming and diving teams travel to College Station to take on Texas A&M on Saturday. Senior swimmer Catherine Nolan has high expectations for her team.
Like I said, they're easily a top 10, top 7 program, and we're still trying to get there. So if we can win, I think we could win a few events and surprise them, I think.
That's it for sports. Here's Melissa with entertainment.
Coming up in entertainment, First Lady Fashion, how Michelle Obama turned heads on Inauguration Night. All that and more up next in entertainment.